routine mission in Mexico. We should have known better.
Maybe you didn't get the message. This is my Mexico, amigos. Stay away.
So I've had sort of a morning of co-op this morning. First I played Dead Space 3, and then I played another Visceral game, Army of Two, The Devil's Cartel in co-op, and very different take on co-op, it must be said. And also, of course, co-op has been at the core of the franchise ever since the beginning, but now you're sort of rebooting this franchise. And what did you feel you wanted to bring forward in this new game?
So basically, Army of Two, it's all about co-op. It's the DNA of the franchise since we started it. What we want to do with this new episode in the series is try to keep what was cool in the previous one and try to fix what could be fixed. So basically we kept plenty of different game mechanics, but we're trying to take it to the next level. In terms of co-op, I can talk about the Overkill mode, for example. In the previous game, you had some co-op moves already where you had to snipe at the same time, for example. Now, we found it cool, but at the same time, after a while, people get bored about it because they started to notice that if you don't do it, if you decide to rush on your own on the level, you will have exactly the same result. So those co-op moves were more for the beauty of it. Where with the Overkill mode, it's not a way to try to force people to play in a specific way. It's just a way to analyze how they play together in a co-op way and try to reward them and encourage them to play more in a smart and strategic co-op way. So for example, if you do a regular kill, you have a certain number of points. Then if you do a headshot, you will have more points. Then if you do a headshot from a cover position, you will have more points. And then you will add a co-op layer to that. I mean, if I start to shoot at someone but I don't kill him, and you kill him, you will have a co-op like a tag team kill. And if I shoot at everybody, I get their attention. You can flank and shoot from behind, from a cover position, headshot. You will accumulate all those bonuses and have much more points to fill your overkill bar. And once you have this overkill bar, you enter some kind of a rage mode where you have infinite ammo, you don't need to reload at all, you're invincible for a short period of time, and your weapons are much more powerful in terms of destruction of environments, objects and everything, so you will earn much more money. So that's what we call the co-op loop. The more you play together, actually, the more overkill situation you will have, which means more money and more destruction. More money means more weapons, faster in a game, and more customization, because the customization is now much more deep. And that will help you to play more together, so that's basically the loop. The more you play together in a cool way, the more fun you will have playing the game.
So, as you said, Army of Two had a lot of those sort of moments where you sort of teamed up and you did things, and that was sort of apparent, that was in the forefront. This is a little bit more like it's there, and you don't necessarily notice it. How do you sort of encourage the team play without those sort of set pieces?
It's all about integrating those strategic moves into the action. Another part of the game, so introducing this overkill mode was one thing. The other thing is trying to make it look like an Hollywood action blockbuster, and we strongly believe that the rhythm is important for that. So if you take, for example, the step jump in the previous game, where sometimes you need to help your partner to climb a wall, it was kind of cool, but it was long. You needed to press blue, and then you needed to wait for the other one to come, validate this move, and then press up with your joystick, wait for him to be yellow. So now with the new game, it's really fluid. You come to the wall, you press blue, the other one comes, boom, it's up, it's taking you, and you go back to the action again, because the action is the priority. So we want the action to be much more fluid. That's the same basically with the aggro meter. It's still here, but you can see it. It's integrated into the action. Everything needs to, we always have to keep in mind that the game and the action needs to be fluid. So from a step jump onto a wall into other kind of different move, the overkill is just here to analyze how you play, but it's not going to force you to do some action stuff. It's just rewarding and encouraging you to do that.
So less sort of prompts and less HUD.
Exactly. It needs to be integrated into the action so that the rhythm of the game is quite cool. It's relevant with the fact that we're trying to make sure we alternate a good diversity of environments. So it's all about South America and Mexico, but sometimes you will be downtown, sometimes you will be in the desert, sometimes you will be in a building or in a drug lab, in a ghost town. So we alternate a lot of different environments, and at the same time we alternate a lot of different situations. So it could be shooting from an helicopter while the other one is on the roof and you need to protect him and cover him from the air. or sometimes it will be inside a building when you need to clear several floors. You will be on the first floor and you will cover him from here, and the other one will be on the ground. So we have a good diversity of situation and a good diversity of environments, just to make sure that the action is always fluid and it's action-packed all the time. This is what we call popcorn gaming. We really want to make sure that the game is easy to pick up and play and accessible. So when I'm presenting the game, I'm not even talking about the controls. You need to be able to just take the pad and know how to play in 5 minutes. So I'm explaining the Overkill mode so that people can notice it and pay attention to the moves they are doing. But overall, if you only have 35 minutes to play the game when you come back to work before the football game starts or something like that, you need to be able to play for 35 minutes. We want the game to be accessible and fun from the beginning.
I think that the franchise previously also sort of promised that in a way. It's sort of how the visuals were, the sort of the style of it was that sort of popcorn, quick fix thing. But perhaps some of the gameplay didn't deliver on that. Would you agree? Yeah,
it's just like sometimes it's quite complicated when you start developing a game like that to reach the expectations you had at the beginning. It's not a 20 years old franchise. It's something that we started quite recently, if you take a look at it. But we had a lot of different challenges with the storytelling and the characters and the way that we want this meaningful co-op gameplay to be on the game. So it's quite cool that with the third iteration of the franchise, we're now polishing some of the aspects we wanted to have in a previous game already.
So you mentioned the story, but it feels like the story isn't sort of, it's not that serious, it's not that important. Sort of, how do you tackle story in a game that has this sort of atmosphere?
In the previous game, it was a fiction conflict in Shanghai where you ended up fighting some weird terrorist in a zoo, and sometimes we had the impression that it was not really resonating with our fan base. So what we wanted to do is keep this sense of humor, keep this fun tone, but reposition the game in a more mature tone. So it's now all about the drug wars in Mexico and the cartels, because this is an actual conflict that's taking place as we speak. And it's raging right now. It's really important that we have a way for the player to identify to what's going on screen. So we are not taking it seriously, but we want the player to be able to identify to the character and to the storytelling. So it's just a way, like we did with replacing Rios and Salem with 2 new military contractors, because previously Rios and Salem had a really strong personality and it was harder for the player to identify to those guys. So now with a deeper system of customization and 2 new military contractors in an entire new setting, it will be easier for the player to identify, and it enhances the immersion.
So now you're at the final stretch of development here, and sort of do you feel like and of course this is a different project because you sort of started at sort of ground zero after 40th day. How's that journey been like, and sort of how confident do you feel that you'll deliver what you need to deliver come release date?
Well, the fact that Visceral Games is now behind the game is a really good addition to the franchise. It is something that shows how EA is taking this franchise seriously, and everybody in the team wants to take this product to the next stage. So that's really something that we took time to think about. And if you think about it, everybody's talking about rebooting the franchise in the industry right now. Everybody's rebooting the franchise. So I don't really like to talk about it. But in Army of Two, it's a new studio working on the game. It's a new engine. It's now Frostbite 2, which is really cool and really relevant with what we want to take the gameplay to. And so we have new setting with Mexico and the drug wars, new characters. So we are basically trying to keep what was cool in the previous game and take it to the next level. This new graphic engine with Frostbite 2, it really allows us to go in the direction we want to aim for, because total destruction of environments plus the overkill is really relevant, and it really brings another layer to the gameplay. So that's quite cool, and we are quite confident that we are going to match the expectations we have to bring something fun. I mean, we are never going to promise anything about Army of Two that won't be achievable, but the only thing we can say now is going to be fun to play. That's for sure.
And when will it be fun to play?
It will be fun to play end of March. I strongly encourage you guys to take a look at the limited edition, because the only way you can have it is by pre-ordering the game. It will not be available after that. It's not a huge amount of money you need to spend, but you have a lot of different cool stuff in the limited edition. You have outfits for your characters, you have new weapons such as the G18 gun, which is the only fully automatic gun in the game. You have new missions, new masks, so basically it's a cool added value if you want to play it co-op with a friend. Split screen is available, so it's going to be a lot of fun too on this part, and we think that it's going to be quite cool end of March.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Really nice to meet you.